do How High, Slackers, Blue Crush, which is one of my all-time favorite summer films, Accepted, and then finally Bloodshot.
Hey, I love Bloodshot.
Yeah. And I'm almost done here, I swear to God. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Adam Hers. He had sold this script for $650,000, which is a little bit over $1 million in today's money. His father was a brain surgeon, and he drew inspiration for this script and the sequels. He wound up writing almost all the other sequels from his own experiences while he was in high school. And he went on to do all the other sequels, as I had said, and he co-produced them. But he's currently working on a TV series called Best Intentions, which, according to IMDb, that it revolves around a teenager, his awkward single father, who is his guidance counselor at the high school that he goes to, and the all too smart women of their fumbling affections. So I think that he has something maybe going there, but it seems like it's almost going to be an extension of American Pie. So I'm interested in seeing how that really goes.
I mean, if you got one good trick, keep using it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long they'll be able to last, but I'm looking forward to this. Originally, Selma Blair was offered any female role in this movie, and she turned it down, saying that she didn't want to do any more teen movies. If you forget, she was known more as like a teenage actress at the time. She was known for Cruel Intentions and doing various different day player roles in TV shows and movies, but she was seen as more of a high school character, and she was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I don't care. And she has gone on the record as saying, quote, that was so dumb. I should have just ridden that wave. End quote.
Yeah, make that money. You'd have been in 4 sequels, pulling in some cash.
Yeah, I mean, who knew? Elijah Dushku was also considered for a role in this movie. So I think that she was probably most likely supposed to be Nadia, but I can't say that with confidence. But I think that would have been a little bit interesting as well.
I kind of... Yeah, I mean, I think there could have been other actresses thrown in, but I don't want to see anybody else in it. I like Mena Suvari a lot in Heather. I thought she was a really cool character. Yeah. I dug her. I like the way she played Heather when she asked him to prom. And yeah. I do love that scene where Oz goes, Stifler, blank. And Stifler just looks like, what? He's like, oh, stop being so insensitive.
And, yeah. He's like, geez, Stifler.
And I liked her reaction to just disgust when they were like, yeah, we got this choir girl. And then he kind of has to get her trust back. And then I thought Tara Reid was good in this, too. I thought she added some good earnestness. I felt really bad for her when Kevin's like, enough of this stuff. I want to do that. He's like, I've been putting this in for months. Like, she was cool. I thought she handled that well. Natasha Lyonne. Allison Hannigan's perfect. Because this is a movie I wish I hadn't seen the trailer for. That, like, Hangover, I remember they gave so many good things away about that movie in the trailer. I mean, it got people in the seats. But I wish I hadn't have known about the flute bit. Or the Say My Name, because I don't know how I knew about it, but somehow I read an interview and then someone told me about it. But I love that came from her, because if you knew nothing about that movie, then that happens, you're gonna love it. That's gonna be a lot of fun, and I thought she was the perfect person to pull that off. I was also a fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I like that show. Yeah,
she was arguably the biggest name on this movie when it came out. Well, Eugene Levy, but for the younger audiences, it would have been Allison Hannigan. To add to that scene where you're talking about when he's like, "Oh yeah, you got yourself a choir girl." The thing that he is doing, Stifler, where he's going, hit that high note. That was called the F Me Like a Whore dance, and in the script there was a note that said, "See Chris Weitz for details." Because they didn't know how they wanted this to look. And Chris Weitz went out and showed Seann William Scott what to do. And during the dailies, when they shot it, the note that came back, I just want to make sure I get this right. It said, more humping, less spanking.
Oh my gosh. Because that probably matters in the MPAA. I would say
it does, and folks don't really understand that it really does matter when it comes down to things like this. But yes, that was it, and also there was different scenes, especially with Oz and Heather, whenever at the end where they finally have sex, that it wasn't supposed to be explicitly shown that they were having sex. That if you were to watch that movie, you wouldn't assume you could go either way, was what the producer said. And I strongly disagree, but they said in the commentary, I don't know, maybe they have heartburn. So
it's real.
He's like, I don't know. We don't see anything. So how are we supposed to assume?
It was interesting, talking about another scene too, Shannon and Elizabeth talking about how awkward it was to film her scenes because a lot of stuff was filmed on location, but they built this set in a warehouse, and she's just in there with a boom guy.
Yeah, I mean, nudity in movies in general is awkward, very awkward. But I can imagine her, she said that in an interview that it was just her and the boom guy, and she just felt really weird about it. And it's like, well, I mean, it was in the script. You read the script.
Yeah, but there's a different atmosphere as opposed to reading on the script. When you're on the day
of course.
in a sealed off set and everyone's kind of embarrassed because it's just a scene that probably, the directors don't want to be like, heck yeah. So everyone's trying to be super nice, and she's just like, all right, let's get it over with. But then everyone's it's awkward. I was on a stand-in on a movie where they had some nudity on it, and I had to do this scene where I was on a roof looking through a window. And so I went up there to stand in for the guy doing it. And so I went up there, did it, and then they're like, all right, Mark, just hang out here for a little bit. Then they shot the scene, and everyone cleared the set, but I didn't want anyone thinking that I was trying to be gross and look, so I kind of crawled down on the roof. I was still on the roof, and I just sort of laid in a way that no one would, Mark's definitely not looking in there because I don't want to be seen as a creeper. But I fell asleep on a roof, and the stunt coordinator had to throw a bottle of water at me to wake me up. And I'm like, I could have rolled off that thing, man. But I just remember the atmosphere. Everyone's like, okay, we're moving away. Everyone back. Everyone get back. It's a very charged, I guess, atmosphere. It gets heightened, so it must be weird for the actors, too, I would say.
Yeah. It's definitely not fun, I would say.
Yeah. And the pie scene, I wonder if that was fun for him.
They said in the commentary that originally Jason Biggs didn't have his pants down, exposing his butt. So one of the directors ran in there and ripped his pants down.
Thanks, Weitz. And then they cut out of the theatrical cut the thing of him on the table with the pie.
Yeah,
it's a better choice, I would say. Him just laying on the pie is a little weird. But I think
yeah.
Such a weird scene. Jim's a weird guy. Oh man.
And just to add a little bit more there, Bill Murray was the original choice to play his dad.
Wow.
But I can imagine he probably turned it down.
I mean, I love Bill Murray in there. He'd be great. But I love the warmth and awkwardness that Eugene brought to it.
Yeah. And I think that Eugene really gives more like a genuine fatherly type of character as well, which adds to it as well.
That patting scene was so endearing because it was so awkward, but it felt right. You can tell the two just love each other. They have good chemistry, those guys. They did a good job together.
Oh, you see that picture right there? That was a fun day.
It's like, how do you talk to your kid after all that stuff? Like, I just caught him watching that and this, and he's just, I mean, Jim's not making it any better.
Yeah.
I did love the Blink-182 cameo because I remember when I was 16 or 17, Enema of the State came out. And so I was already listening to Blink, and I also had Dude Ranch and Buddha and all that beforehand. So when they popped up on screen, it made me so happy to see those guys on there with the monkey, the random monkey.
Yeah, that was the monkey that did everything that they wanted it to do. They said that the monkey was actually the best actor out of the whole group that was in there. They said the monkey did the hands over its eyes right on cue. And also, if you can watch it, whenever they all go, oh, shit, the monkey actually mouths that too.
Wow. And that's such a creepy scene if you look at it now. But I think the actors they cast, you had that one kid sitting by himself in a room. He had good little timing. Then you had the ladies watching it again. They found a way to make something like exploitive, I guess, kind of funny. And then they turned it on him in the end by doing that twice. And then that led to Alice Hannigan. Well, she goes to detention to pick him up. That's like her plan, isn't it? She just She
all
knows
along she has something.
She knows he's the easy lay. here's two rubbers. I don't want you what's happened on the internet. Oh man! And one time, and I just band camp. When you were that age, like in high school or middle school, or wherever you're at, like were you saying like did people say MILF or band camp or any of that stuff?
It definitely picked up very much so right after this movie came out. And that was just a phrase that supposedly the writer came up with. And he just thought that it was funny. So he went with it. And also the writer said that the reason why he put in the one time in band camp was that when he was a kid in school, he said that there was tons of these band kids and theater kids and art school kids. And they would go to these camps over the summer. And then usually in the first 2 weeks of school, they would always go, "Oh my God, that one time at band camp." And he wanted to put that into the movie to show that it was funny, but it was also really annoying to have people say that like over and over again. So he wanted to really show that. But he said it wasn't originally written to be like that, but Allison really changed that character for what it was. And Allison said that had a lot to do with her not really being prepared to read the lines. In her audition, she was auditioning for another character, but she was kind of panicked because she had drank a bunch of water prior to going to the audition, and she had to go to the bathroom. And she kind of lost her train of thought when she got out of the bathroom. And then she found out that she was up next to rehearse. So she was like, "Oh, my goodness." So she started to do it. So she was trying to go through her lines quickly. And she was like, I blew the audition. But it turns out the directors really liked her for this character.
I mean, she nailed it. It was such good casting. That's kind of
amazing.
lightning in a bottle casting, too. And her line readings, oh man, when she just finally, I'm getting a little antsy. Can we go? Oh, Jim. And then he bounces off the bed.
Yeah. They kicked the ball of marbles. For some reason, there was a ball of marbles sitting right there, a container of marbles, and then she punches out the light from what was that movie? 9.5 Weeks.
Yeah. Just destroying the room. And then when they're talking the next day, they're like, things aren't going to be the same. What, after having sex? No, man, like graduating. Oh, Jim. He's so happy to be used.
Yeah. But did the critics like this movie?
61%. Well, no, that wasn't the score, I guess, in 99. There's probably been reviews added. But yeah, what did the critics say?
Well, in 1999, they were really split. Roger Ebert loved this movie. He gave it 3 stars, and he said that in his review, quote, "The film is in the tradition of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, National Lampoon's Animal House, and all the more recent teen sex comedies. It's not inspired, but it's cheerful and hardworking and sometimes funny. And here's the most important thing, it's not mean. Its characters are sort of sweet and lovable. As I swim through the summer tide of vulgarity, I find that's what I'm looking for. Movies that at least feel affection for their characters. Raunchy is okay. Cruel is not."
Right.
So he really liked how this movie was not anything you haven't seen before, but the characters did not have cruel intentions, I guess is the best way to put it.
And there's not 10 things I hate about it.
Yeah, Mark.
I know. If this was up for an election, wait, no, that doesn't work.
No,
but you're right, though. He's right. It does have heart, and it's not mean-spirited, and there's enough in there to not make it a just cynical sex comedy.
And I think that's what also caused this movie to be such a success, to create all these different, I mean, I don't even remember how many spinoffs there are, to be honest with you. I know that they have another one coming out. That's they're doing the female version of American Pie spinoff now. So there's so many different spinoffs of this series and sequels. So I'm really looking forward to what the future holds for these movies. But also other critics really didn't like this that much. One person in particular wrote a very scathing review for Superbad as well. So I don't know if Wesley Morris, who is the author, really just doesn't like teenage sex comedies or not. In his article, Flaky American Pie, he wrote for The Examiner, he said that it is, quote, "It's an incidental evocation that unwittingly emphasizes how pathetic these guys are during the vast intervals between laughs. Since generating laughs is something Weitz seems to have no idea how to do. The result is a rhythmless comedy that's cued more like a horror film. Semen spiked beer, a webcam that broadcasts the film's most exploratory loser, Jim Biggs, a Game Boy who deserves a future, performing a striptease for the hot check transfer, Shannon Elizabeth, with fake breasts, and, of course, that baked delight of the title. The camera lingers on these and a few other things as if they were designed to induce an audience to scream and plead not to go there. What else can you do when resident meathead Stifler swigs Kevin's pale ale but shrieks, "No!" Neither John Waters nor the Farrelly brothers inspired this. Wes Craven did. End quote. So he was not a big fan.
I guess if you think about it, this movie, it is based around set pieces, but that's a lot of the movies that come out around this genre, though. I mean, you have the set pieces that everyone remembers, I guess. Yeah. So it's like a kill, or it's like an action beat. I think you just got to check off boxes for these films.
Yeah.
Right? And we talked about Valley Girl. The producers needed them to show 3 pairs of breasts in it.
Yeah.
And, Martha